If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made in this week. Now, as usual, I'll give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made in first, followed by a movie clip, a trailer, a skit, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. Then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made in this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1, how important is the travel business here locally? Linda McCullough voiced her passion to keep the travel business alive here locally. Most people never think of the Valley as a tourist attraction, but actually there are multiple local tourist attractions here in the local valley, local community. Strengthening tourist sites could really impact the local economy if you think about it. Now, even through COVID-19, the tourist business is still important, especially when it comes to hotels, museums, parks, and store chains. Although the article's main focus is on what will happen once travel resumes, the talking points are focused on how Linda is using wineries and breweries to shine light on what the Valley has to offer here and now, while also prepping for better days. So she's kind of mixing it up. Mill Creek Park at the time seems to be her focal point inside of this developing story. Keep an eye on story number 1. That's why I made it this week. Story number 2, YSU basketball on hold because of COVID-19. After a positive test, YSU will put its season on hold for now. Now, this is adding to a long list of COVID-19 chaos around the local community. The economic impact of having no sports, along with the development of players, is a real talking point and a real issue. Sports alone plays a huge role in the hotel and travel business, along with television, media, and radio. The media, television, and radio business also. The total effects of missing 1 week of practice, that means nothing. Everything shut down, could account for an entire month of future development and training in playing and coaching in any sport. Now, this story is still developing. Keep an eye on story number 2. Story number 3, Altium and GM spreading their wings here locally. The relationship between GM and Altium seems to be getting stronger, and one local Vindicator article homed in on Altium chief Ki Eun's commitment to the local community. GM faced a wave of criticism for leaving the Lordstown plant in 2019, but looks to be paving a new path for the future of technology and cars. The local investment is about $2.3 billion. The battery plant will power the electric Hummer, Cadillac Lyric, the Cruise Origin, and GM's electric driverless vehicles. The partnership will strengthen GM's relationship with several Asian tech powerhouses. This story is still developing. Story number 4, the orders are coming in for LMC pickup trucks. That's Lordstown Motor Company's. One local report says that Lordstown Motor Company has 50,000 pre-orders for the Endurance pickup truck. Now, although the company has been in the news quite a bit for other related issues, the company seems to be moving along with plans to operate and fulfill production of vehicles here locally. Now, in this developing story, there are a few key factors to make this a strong story. That's innovation, jobs, and other networking opportunities. Keep an eye on story number 4. It is still developing. Big headline. Story number 5. Now may be the time for local communities to work together. Local nonprofits have been on and off the clock working to keep people fed and clothed as we get closer and closer to the winter months. The reality is that philanthropy is needed now more than ever, so local communities have been in and out of the news, constantly battling to stay afloat and please their local residents. Now, while some see no need for outreach, many are starting to have compassion for those with less, especially those who understand what it is like to miss meals. This story will play a big part in how every community is judged around the holidays. Keep an eye on story number 5. Story number 6. COVID-19 could be slowly killing the local education system. Many local schools have been returning to all remote learning, but only time will tell what effects this pivot from from traditional learning will have on students. Commitment to class, time, and interacting with other classmates could really alter the development process of students, so only time will tell how the outcome of this strategy will impact the future workforce. The key to this story is the fact that what happens now could really change the future and impact the future. Keep an eye on story number 6. Story number 7 in the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. How are family-owned businesses doing? Big report. Walmart made $134.7 billion in the third quarter. That's a 56% increase in revenue, while family-owned businesses deemed non-essential were forced to shut down. Some are still shut down. This story alone could cause outrage and a wave of lawsuits related to unfair business practices. Now, as this story continues to develop and people continue to want answers in the wrath of COVID-19, the numbers are showing an unusual trend in shopping behavior, leaving family-owned businesses out in the cold. Big headline, and that's why I made it to the top 2 this week. Story number 8 in the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. Mixed opinions on what works and doesn't work when dealing with COVID-19. There are still mixed opinions. Now, with cases on the rise, opinions are still mixed about how serious COVID-19 really is. The real concern now is, why are states officials so adamant about a virus with a high survival rate? Now, the truth is that people have caught the virus, treated it, and returned back to work. Some of these people even work at nursing homes. Now, what bumped this story up is the fact that a lot of local business owners and people are not being allowed to make decisions for themselves. This alone is causing a lot of problems, suffering, and confusion. Keep an eye on story number 8. That's why I made it to the top this week, and Governor DeWine will probably be the centerpiece of this entire discussion. Well, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. You're on the Mediator with me, Brian West. Don't go anywhere.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. And go to the website. It's method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.